discussion of matter on matter of urgent public importance under Rule 50 on the issue pertaining to unemployment in Nagaland. Honorable Speaker, sir, here is the most recent and comprehensive data on unemployment in Nagaland based on the Periodic Labor Force Survey, PLFS, for July 2023 to June 2024, released in September 2024. One of the key highlights, the overall unemployment, age 15 and above, unemployment rate rose to 7.1% from 4.3% last year, that is 2022-23. India's overall rate, 3.2%, showing Nagaland is higher. If we look at the location, urban unemployment is at 11.3%, rural at 5.7%. Youth unemployment, age 15 to 29, overall it is 27.4%, urban youth at 39.6%, rural youth at 23.1%. Educated unemployment, secondary and above, overall 13.4%, which was 8.9%. Postgraduates at 27%, diploma holders 26.2%, graduates 19.2%, second highest among Indian states after Arunachal Pradesh at 16%, national average is at 7.1%. The unemployment rate for individuals aged 15 and above rose to 7.1%, a steep increase from 4.3% the previous year, a surge of over 65%. Compared to the All India average of approximately 3.2%, Nagaland's unemployment ratio remains significantly higher. By location, urban areas recorded a much higher unemployment ratio of 11.3%, whereas rural areas had a relatively lower rate of 5.7%, demonstrating a clear urban-rural disparity. Youth unemployment, age 15 to 29. Among youth, the unemployment ratio was alarmingly high at 27.4%. Urban youth face even greater challenges, with unemployment soaring to 39.6%, contrasted with 23.1% in rural areas. Educated unemployment, secondary and above. Among individuals with secondary education and above, unemployment rose sharply from 8.9% in 2022-23 to 13.4% in 2023-24. This is the second highest rate among all Indian states, just behind Arunachal Pradesh, while the national average was only 7.1%, breaking it down. So, if we look at the unemployment ratio, the postgraduates and above, the diploma certificate holders, graduates are at a staggering high. But one good news is that the worker population ratio, despite the rise in unemployment, the worker population ratio improved. Worker population ratio increased from 32.8% in 2017-18 to 68.1% in 2023-24, indicating a substantial boost in employment engagement. What we are seeing now in our state of Nagaland is a very surprising trend, because in many other states of the Northeast, the worker population ratio is actually not increasing much. Our educated employed, whether we call them unemployable or employed, they are going down. They are not able to get the jobs, or maybe not employable in many ways. But there is a very big impetus on the worker population ratio. The amount of people that are getting income and economic impetus with regards to the land and its resources, agriculture, horticulture, and land resources, is out of the 32.8%, rise of 68.1%, 30% of it goes to the agri and the allied sector, especially people who are working on land resources and agri and allied. And approximately 60% is due to the soft skills and the vibrant youth, especially in the sectors of tourism and its activities, and the people, young people who are artistic and they are able to mitigate some way the needs. So the worker population ratio is the highest in the Northeast among the northeastern states, Nagaland. One of the other contexts and insights, rise in unemployment is sharp among educated and urban youth. Urban job markets face a greater mismatch between education and job opportunities. The worker population ratio, which is doing very well, increase, suggests more people entering workforce, but job creation isn't keeping up. It is not stable. Structural challenges included limited private sector growth and the over-reliance on government jobs, and geographical constraints are some of the biggest reasons of the unemployment growth. Around 70,000 registered unemployed youth as of April 2024. What does this mean for our state of Nagaland? On my part, I would like to suggest that all of us work on some key points. Number one, focus on youth and education-linked employment. Develop private sector opportunities beyond government jobs. Promote self-employment and entrepreneurship, especially in rural areas. Design targeted policies for specific groups, youth, women, and rural entrepreneurs. Honorable Speaker, sir, I would like to conclude by saying that overall in the state of our small Nagaland, the opportunities of livelihood and employability in our land, in our resources, in our forests is obtained. And this is what is giving us a lot of impetus in the worker population ratio, where among the population of our state, self-employability through the agrarian and land resource development is a primary source of livelihood and employability for the people living in the rural areas. And this is where we really need to work on. Our soft skills, our talented youth, our tourism sector, our art and culture sector are some of the main impetus that we are getting on this worker population ratio also. It is a staggering growth from 32.8% in 2017-18 to 68.1% in 2023-24, which is a substantial boost in employable and employment engagement. This is not what I personally am saying. This is according to the Periodic Labor Force Survey, PLFS, for July 2023 to June 2024, released in the month of September 2024. Lastly, the urban population. I think there is a lot of urban youth who are working very hard, but also a substantial number who, in the name of educated, is not willing to work and are lazy and social media scientists. So we need to find the ways for them to be able to work hard and not only engage in criticizing the government all the time. Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, sir.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Now I would like to call upon Honorable Shri.
Prevailing statistics and reports of various agencies on the issues. So I will try to skip all the statistics to make the speech short. And our previous speakers have covered mostly all the main important issues on the topic. So I'll try to make my speech very short and try to not to repeat the same what my colleagues have already stated. Before coming to the main issue, I would just like to visit on the role of the employment exchange or agencies or establishment. We often fetch the data and statistics from the employment exchange, but maybe I'm really ignorant, but I'm not very clear on the role of the employment exchange. I believe the role of employment exchange is not just giving the unemployment exchange card to the job seekers. I don't know whether there is any other role that they play as an agency. I suppose the employment agencies are supposed to be facilitating or assisting the job seekers, identifying the avenues and the positions both in the public and the private sectors, or disseminate the information on job vacancies from employers and facilitating them placement of the suitable candidates. Honestly, I don't know whether that roles are supposed to be carried by the employment exchange. What we know from the employment exchange is just issue the unemployment card from the agencies. So I feel that they should provide, or they should serve as the intermediary between job seekers and the employers. Speaking about the unemployment issues, our state has one of the highest unemployment rate because to me many are employed yet unemployed. For Nagas, employment means working only in government agency and nothing else. In fact, our definition of employment itself is wrong to me. Only if you are employed by the government, we consider it as employed, which I feel is not correct. We have part-time jobs, we have work at home, entrepreneurs, many talents and skills that generate income are not accounted for. Though having said that, we still face huge unemployment issues. And there are so many reasons, so many background that we can narrate. Though we are one of the rich, naturally rich state, yet we remain poor. And we always attribute to our political reasons and so forth. But besides our economy and political, I feel that we have problems derivative from our own mindset. So, as I was saying, we Nagas are yet to learn the dignity of labor to me. Every grandparents, our parents, desires a white-collar job, and in many instances have unimaginable desires unmatched even with the candidates and qualifications too. We still consider even now the grade 3 and grade 4 job as tutumutu. As a parent, we all desire that our wards do well and excel in exams or any other field. But I think we should start teaching the value of hard work, the dignity of labor that has to be inculcated in our generals, in the youth, and no job is lesser job. That's what we should be able to inculcate in our wards. as we all know that excessive dependence on government job among the youth and graduate is a naked reality in our state. And out of so many issues and so many factors, my previous speakers had mentioned, but I just want to reiterate that again, that I think the reality factor, one factor is that the gap between the education between the education and the skills. Many find it very difficult to move forward in our life after getting all the education's high degrees. They fail to move forward, even establishing their own livelihood and entrepreneurship. And many are, in fact, educated but unemployable for lack of the required skill. And this, we all know. So, what I really wanted to urge from this very platform to our young generation is that the young generation should look beyond this white collar job. In fact, we should look for blue collar jobs which are skilled, trades, physical, hands-on transportation with the same dignity as a white collar job. For that matter, even family and society at large, we should all try to encourage the upcoming generations to look for such jobs. In that, when I say that on education, I feel that we must the government must initiate in making our education curriculum at par with national and international standards, so that our students are equipped to be deployed or to be employed in India and abroad, not only in our state, not only in our country. So our education qualifications and degrees should be valuable to the employers worldwide. Here, my eloquent speakers, Honorable Member Doctor has also stated on the international standard of curriculum in the school. So I'm just reiterating that issue. The second thing is, even in market, we have laborers. We have, among the Naga youth, we have labor. But I think the polishing part is missing, to my personal opinion. I think we must continue to take initiative to tap and polish and skill our people to capture the workforce in construction and hospitality market in particular. As I stated, there are local workforces available, but we always tend to opt for no locals for their for every tiny small things, because they are more skillful and polished. So even in that field, we should continue our efforts to impart the necessary policies and initiatives. And educated youth do not see these private sectors as viable. They don't see these private sectors as viable interest for their livelihood. And this is what is missing in the education and our skills. Our government are doing all necessary policies, implementing various schemes, and I wanted to request our leadership to continue supporting our entrepreneurship by continue giving grants and through simplified regulations for small businesses, promote public-private partnership for the job-oriented initiative. And we can still continue providing financial support and grants for benefits like short-term loans. And then, even in the agriculture sector, I feel that we should start the approach of, grow what you eat and eat what you grow approach. That's how our sustainable livelihood can be somehow sustained. So, if you talk about unemployment, there are a lot of issues, but I think the more message I want to convey from here is that I really want to urge the youth, the young generations, that they should come out from the comfort zone and find avenues that are passionate about, whether it is passionate to them, whether it is sport, whether it is food, entertainment, customer services, etc. That finds a way to make living out of your passion. If not, unemployment problems will be our own creations. Sir, perhaps our generations have been wired to think that Nagas has no gift experiences in running the businesses, ultimately leading to non-locals capturing our market. However, I encourage the youth to step out of the bubble and try their hands-on both the micro and the macro businesses and adventures. In fact, the application of nearly, as stated by my previous speaker, nearly 23,000 plus for just 154 posts of the Forest Guard says it all about our employment scenario. And many are still awaiting the much awaited police recruitment, which I wish it happens soon because our problems. So, Honorable Speaker, sir, addressing unemployment is not I feel it's not only the policy reformation, but it is our moral responsibility also. If we fail to create the opportunities for our youth, we fail the future of Nagaland. So let us all advocate turning this challenge into an opportunity and building a future where every young and educated people can stand on their own feet. Once again, thank you so much.
Thank you, Honorable Advisor. Now I would like to give time to...
Thank you for giving me this time to participate in a matter of urgent public importance under Rule 50 pertaining to unemployment in Nagaland. One of the severe problems we have in our state is the educated unemployed youth. We debate or discuss so much about the affairs of the state. However, we have unemployment problem which needs to be viewed as one of the most important chapter. In India, the job market for the last few years is challenging as thousands of people lost their jobs across companies and sectors. A report by the International Labour Organization, a large number of Indian youths are out of work. Let me reflect back in the year 2020. 35% of the youth are unemployed, and it has doubled to 65% in 2022. One of the reasons why it has been staggered is because of the COVID pandemic. Until 2019, the number of employment was rising, but due to the pandemic, many had lost their jobs. Therefore, it will take time to recover. It is going to be a long time challenge. More than 50% of Indian population is below the age of 25 years. So in the coming years, more will enter the job market. In the next decade, we will have 7 to 8 million job seekers. India will have to create employment for them. In the state context, more than 72,000 are registered as educated unemployed youth between the age group of 15 to 29 years, which is 27.4% during 23 to 24, which puts the state youth unemployment rate on the higher side. Whereas our state has the highest unemployment rate, according to the Center for Monitoring Indian Economy data during 2024. Nagaland unemployment hovered above 20%, making it the highest in India. Looking at this, we have to think about seriously in managing the employment sector by adopting effective measures and policies. One of the instances that I would like to point out, stated by our former speakers in the recent interview, for 154 vacancies of forest guards. The aspirants candidates were more than 23,000 in the forest department, and 46 vacancies for the post of constables. There were more than 11,000 aspirant candidates in the excise department, out of which around 200 will be qualified for the job, whereas the rest will be left jobless, or some through competitive exam will be employed. And this group of youth will give an impact of a healthy or an undesired society. When we talk about healthy society, we need to generate more avenues to lower the rate of unemployment. If this crisis is not checked and balanced, we will see more criminals, alcoholics, drug addicts, and corruption in our state. I would like to express my views with some points. In the non-farm sector, facilitating nano retailers and food stalls, both in rural and urban areas, like juice bars in highways, tea stalls, food joints in urban areas, and strategic rural areas, fruits and vegetables vending in highways, and marketplace for young parents, youth, and retired people. Under this sector, we may target to take 3,000 units that will generate 3,000 jobs, immediately giving approximately rupees 2 lakh to 10 lakhs income in a year. Under livestock, poultry units where 200 layer birds are considered as a unit can generate an annual income of approx rupees 2.5 to 3 lakhs in a year for self-employment. If government can take up 5,000 units on pilot case, it can create 5,000 jobs immediately, both in urban and rural areas. Piggery units of 50 pigs per unit in a year can give approx rupees 4 to 6 lakhs income to the self-employed. The government can take up 2,000 units on a pilot basis and create immediately jobs both in rural and urban areas for 2,000 people. Encouraging the church-sponsored colleges, schools, where many are employed as lecturers, teachers, clerks, grade 4 staffs, including the church workers such as pastors, counselors, directors, missionaries, etc. For instance, in my district, there are 34 institutions sponsored by a group of churches, generating approximately 850 to 900 employment opportunities to unemployed youth. The government is also doing tremendous work to generate employment for the youth in various sectors for their livelihood by introducing schemes and subsidies, PMEGP, CMMFI, capacity building, startups, etc. Through this, many unemployed youth are given platforms. The government, together with CSOs, NGOs, can emphasize on dignity of labor and skill development, whereby larger group of youth can be reached and be equipped with skills such as masonry, carpentry, craftsman, tailoring, etc. to generate employment and livelihood. In conclusion, the state government Under the visionary leadership of our Honorable Chief Minister, at this pace, the innovative programs is bringing about concrete changes in the employment sector for the betterment of our youth, whereby paving ways for a brighter future and society. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Honorable Member. Now I call upon Honorable.
It's an honor for me to participate in this discussion under Rule 50 pertaining to unemployment in Nagaland. I rise today with a deep sense of duty and urgency to present before this august House the realities of unemployment, employability and skilling of our youths in the state. While Nagaland has made commendable progress in education, connectivity and infrastructure, we stand at a crossroad. Our challenge today is not only to create jobs, but to ensure that every young person in Nagaland is equipped with a marketable skill set that guarantees dignity of work and a future of opportunity. According to the Directorate of Employment, Skill Development and Entrepreneurship, as on 31st December 2023, there were 70,936 job seekers registered with the employment exchanges throughout the state. Out of these, only 30,251, which is about 42.66%, have tertiary level credentials, out of which 6,847 are postgraduates and above, 21,545 are graduates, and only 1,859 holds technical degrees. As per the Higher Education Enrollment Records, for the academic year 2023-24, there were 26,443 undergraduate students and 9,843 postgraduate students enrolled across degree institutions, and in 2024-25, total enrollment stands at 32,915 students across 72 colleges. These data shows that we have a powerful educated youth population which is on the rise every year. But without adequate skill alignment and job opportunities, their potentials go untapped. Honorable members, unemployment is no longer just about numbers. It's about quality, dignity and relevance. An unemployed graduate is a vested asset, but when a graduate student acquires and is certified in one marketable skill, it makes them employable, resilient and entrepreneurial. I draw your kind attention today to a crucial crossroad. Our youth's aspiration for dignified livelihoods. We have advanced in education infrastructure, but our next challenge is to translate academic learning into meaningful employment, ensure that every student leaves school equipped with at least one marketable skill. In a fast-changing economy, skills are the new currency of employability. Honorable members, if Assam can prepare a workforce of 15,700 individuals, including managers, engineers, technicians, and operators, supported by academic and skilling partnerships to prepare the workforce for a 27,000 crore semiconductor plant at Jagi Road, we too must prepare our youths for industries of tomorrow, be it in renewable energy, agro-tech, tourism, digital services, or high-end manufacturing. Honorable members, for the youths of Nagaland to thrive with the skill set and to impart them with one along with their curriculum, we must first introduce and take full advantage of the National Education Policy 2020. The NEP 2020 is not just a vision document, it is an opportunity for Nagaland to revolutionize skilling, and I would like to highlight some of the important objectives that cover through NEP 2020. 1. Vocational exposure from class 6. NEP mandates early exposure to vocational skills, coding and crafts, making students job ready. Flexibility in subject choices. Students can pursue multidisciplinary combinations, blending academics with entrepreneurship, agriculture or IT. Skill integration in higher education. NEP's multi-entry and exit system allows students to accumulate credits and short-term certifications while studying. Focus on local knowledge. Courses can be conceptualized to Nagaland's strengths: bamboo crafts, ecotourism, agribusiness, handloom, and digital services. Digital learning programs. NEP encourages online skill courses through platforms like Swayam, bringing advanced training to remote villages. As far as the technical education is concerned, the department has currently 9 polytechnics offering diploma programs across trades like civil, mechanical, automobile, electrical and electronics, computer science and engineering, fashion technology, architecture, assistantship, and interior design, collectively with a seat capacity of approximately 435. Additionally, during this academic year, a total of 576 students have been selected and nominated to various courses, such as paramedical, engineering, MBBS, and medical lights. Nagaland's technical education ecosystem is a powerful tool for employability if used deliberately and diligently. Polytechnics train students for industry-ready roles in sectors that offer high employability, such as construction, manufacturing, tool rooms, IT supports, etc. These programs not only give them hands-on expertise, but it also enables them to start their own businesses. And in a state like Nagaland, where there are no large-scale industries, it gives them the readiness for private sector jobs anywhere in India or abroad. Honorable members, unemployment cannot be solved by education alone. It requires strong synergy between technical education, industries and commerce, skill development, services sector, and IT departments. These departments must be the engines of our economic revival. I would like to briefly state how each department can contribute in achieving these goals. Technical education produces job-ready students who can work globally or start local enterprises. Strengthen our workforce with practical hands-on expertise. Industries and commerce. The key to attracting investment, establishing manufacturing units, and supporting MSMEs. Must lead industrial policy reforms and anchor large projects like Assam's Semiconductor Hub. Skill development. Bridges that gap between education and employability. Empowers youth to become self-reliant through entrepreneurship training, startup incubation, and microcredit schemes. Information technology enables our youth to compete globally through digital literacy, remote work, and IT-enabled services. Strengthening IT parks and digital skilling will unlock jobs without requiring physical relocation. Honorable members, we are at a very decisive moment. We can either allow unemployment to erode hope, or we can make a decisive decision and act boldly and commit to a new vision for Nagaland and its youth. A state where every young person is skilled and future ready. A state that attracts industries, corporate investors, and homegrown enterprises to turn our talent into an economic engine. A state where employment exchanges become centers of opportunity, not mere registration centers. The future of Nagaland lies in our ability to skill our youth, attract investments, and empower local entrepreneurs. Degrees without employability are a missed opportunity. Skills without industries are wasted potential. By prioritizing these 4 key departments, adopting NEP 2020 reforms, and drawing lessons from Assam Semiconductor success, we can transform our state from a job seeker economy into a job creator economy. With all our support, Nagaland can emerge as a hub of innovation, entrepreneurship, and a powerhouse in the Northeast. Let us act boldly today to give every Naga youth a skill, a career, and a reason to build Nagaland's future. In a nutshell, Honorable Sir, our job is to define our destination, equip our youths, skill our youths, and send them along that path towards that destination. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Advisor. Now,
into Rule 50 unemployed Nagaland kiniga educated unemployed program hoyase itu loku participate kuribole be khara kuri ase. Speaker sir, foreign policy, national policy, and state bidote department wise PC itu kota kurisha. Kendo amahan itu nicho bi bhavna ahibo lagi policy tu, aru government bi ki policy banai ase. Educated unemployed problem PC hoi ase. Itaka 7% ba 13% uthi jaise ako educated unemployed 700 PC ho jaise. Itu kiniga accommodate kuribo. Itu bhabna kuribo lagi. Sir, region interview the key to hobby sab to MTS hoigana multitasking task force itu stop service stop itu laga employee there iman exercise te sabi kiman tau ase kiman participate hoise post to kiman ase komdi thakise forest department de advertise kurise tati kiman thousand ahise advertisement de lagai dise class 8 pass apply kurise doctorate PhD pura khan tak ineba apply kurise itu to role bonadam de class 8 koi kana MTS de class 8 inega lagaise holubi sati karma laga policy stop it point to dianai middle pass khan apply no koribi graduate khan apply no koribi PA khan edo post graduate khan apply no koribi itu mention kori dianai class 8 koise class 8 to class 8 pura khan tham lagaise aru tati government job hi lagi to government job seeker khan graduate khan post graduate khan doctorate khan ineba apply kurise to khushin du ki class 8 laga alag na class 8 pass laga alag na graduate aru edu post graduate edu khan laga khushin do alag iki hole jodi class 8 laga khushini ahile class 8 pass laga khushini ahile tai khan do class 10 8 9 edu khan do hole pass no hobo पुलिसी दी ही उलप कालती तो MAPA खान तो सोचता ही पास हो किंतु इतु भी हो बना नहीं पोस्ट हो गए कम दिया से 3-4,000 इमान 5-6-10,000 इमान लगे से इतु प्रॉब्लम इंटरव्यू लोआ दे प्रॉब्लम भी इमान तक आए से किले माने क्वालिफिकेशन तो सेपरेट करी दिया नहीं क्लास 8 पास रखिमान तक शांति डॉक्टर तक पूरी भी चलो कोआ नेक्स्ट नहीं पूरी दी से इटा तो सब मानो क्लास 8 तो पोस्ट ग्रेजुएट तक इमान एपीएल करी से कैंडिडेट हुई से तो इतु निशना अमहान इतु ही सब्जेक्ट मीटर दे इतु फॉरेस्ट डिपार्टमेंट और एक्साइज डिपार्टमेंट दे भावना पूरी सभी इमान तक एजुकेटेड अनएम्प्लॉयड प्रोग्राम आशने की इतु डिपार्टमेंट तो इतना लगाई कोई ऐसे इमान वही ऐसे इतु कौन लगा रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी से अमान सब लगा रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी किंतु आइडिया तो किन्हीं का हो वो पुलिस तो किन्हीं का पुनाई हो अमान तो oil and natural gas olaibo will be independent babu pong kuri tisha ako de poila ita to country libi amahan logo iman chuldi sosta to nahi to amahan laga itu ta sugar mill thagi se pong kuri tisha steel laga Nagaland government laga plywood factory thagi se itu bi pong bichashe so इटा भी मोई टिको हाइड्रो प्रोजेक्ट जुटी इटू उलाइले 5 to 10,000 नेशनल दो एजुकेटेड अनएम्प्लॉयड ताती एकोमोडेट करिबो पारिबो इनगा हाबि थागिसे किंतु नागा मेंटालिटी भी पब्लिक मेंटालिटी भी ठीक नहा कानी इटा ताना पाजी इनगा होयासे नोहेले ताती भी 1,000 to 5,000 national do wele tati bi economic kuriti bole ase economic kuri bole ase speaker sir amahan ki hole bi kon nok chine to hole bi itu chari dile bhal ikun bhabi gena amahan do ami do support hi korise itu prohibition bill to left kuribo itu laga itu judi left kuri di revenue bi bishi hobo educated unemployed program bi solve hobo kile solve hobo salesman dokande salesman 10 jon do thakibo gari bi up ekta down ekta tuita hobo tokan sab tati at least driver charda do hoi jabo ekta gari do tuita আৰু তকন্দে tosta salesman appoint কৰিলে যদি ইটো পি প্ৰব্লেম সলভ হ'বটো ইটো ভাং সব ভাবনা কৰিলে যদি আমাৰ হামপি এতিয়া ইন্ডাষ্ট্ৰি ডিপাৰ্টমেন্ট এতিয়া প্ৰেজেন্টলি আমাৰ হান এতিয়া আমাৰ অনাৰেবল এডভাইজাৰ মিসেস হিখানি একদম তাই ব্রিলিয়েন্ট knowledgeable appointment taike industry advisor dikina ase ki policy anibo itu compare koribi national aro international compare koribi kinaga mano kinaga chai ase tatibi sob jaga de industry positive holibi town de chila de holibi itu industry khuri dile chuti handloom handicraft aro ki industry ase local postage child itu blacksmithing na cinder kurigana industry cinder kurigana child tudi tatibi community ku paribo itu policy kan program inaga punai kana child department wise te inaga aro agri and allied sector itu kuribode kurigana do hele itu aman 3 years hoye ase agri allied itu kuri ase de amar department te organic farming itu kuri aside noheleba fruit products itu kuri aside noheleba itu input output inaga connect kuri aside itu sa foreign country de state within the national level de inaga bhi ekchum department bravi ulane sab to agree and alike ase opportunity tati ase ahebina policy bunai gana ahebina program bunai gana ahebina it depends on individual kon mano department thori gana depends on individual khali chief minister kahi no nupuchile policy meter dehi taike kubi nichu bi আমি ইটো কৰিব মই লগা টাইম দে এডভাইজাৰী মিনিষ্টাৰী ইটো ভাৱনা কৰিবি তেতিয়া হ'লে নাগালেণ্ড এডুকেটেড এমপ্লয়ী বি 100% নহ'ব এটলিষ্ট 30% 40% এনেকুৱা চলাই কেনে যাব এইটো মই ভাৱনা লোকেল ভাৱনা দেই এইটো কৰি দি আছে এডুকেটেড আনএমপ্লয়ী আৰু বি এতিয়া forest laga exercise laga koise forest department pra 24 kilometers daurle dise itu daura de surprisingly aru hosana misa se kintu moi pisai se itu to hosa ase koise ekjon chokra ki free laga chokra 24 kilometer 1 hour 48 minutes complete kuri loise kon ki jane written the title fail logo de kintu taura de dole title kompi nori to itu nisna to sports khan lobina sports te accommodate kuri bina ekdam itu to hile sports department be itu bhavana koribi sabina itu kan national to pick up kori lobi ekta nohele bi ekta to pick up koribi ekta nohele bi ekta to pick up koribi aru amar naga chukri khan china de international de khili kena ahise iko boise nai department civil meter loi ahise koise itu kan be to sports department ba accommodate kori lobi itu national to choose kori lobi na ekta to nohele bi naga chokri chukra khan dole ekta nohele bi ekta to dole successful to olai jai do itu national jaga da inaga lobi aru nijo department de hai moi itu koribo apni tam de minister khan logoi advisor khan logoi moi koi ase apna laga term de 5 years going to be completed 2 more years only 2 more years to go ki policy ki project olaise kina chharibo moi time de itu kurise olop thothani khuda kuribile itu naga osol to ko bole nijo bi itu bhavana koribi piana bhabide moi itu ko alu speaker se PEC se kaam kuribile to aru iman lekhabura Nagaland de iman lekhabura ahi ase percentage to increase by increase yearly increasing how to accommodate those educated unemployed people kinaga hoina plan banaibo kono badu hile service na paile amahan government bi chi hule bi educated unemployed kete industry kuribi or business kuribi koi kana whether any possibility is there for them for accommodating all those educated people financial line there business start koribole itu national policy korile phala je koni ki jane kali Nagaland de ইন্টারভিউ দি কিনা ফেল হব one of them partially DP হৈ যায় আৰু তাইখান নিচু পি ইন্টারভিউ দিয়া আমি জানি তাইতো মই বৰ একদম প্ৰিয় থাকিছে তাইতো পাছ হৈছে আমিতো ইমান ভাল তাইৰ ভাল থাকিছে আমিতো ফেল হৈছে ঘৰত আহি কিনা খেতিটি যাবলৈ নোৱাৰি পঢ়িবলৈ যাবলৈ নোৱাৰি আৰু আকৌ ইন্টারভিউ দি যাব কৰিলে তাই ফেৰা ঘুরি ইন্টারভিউ দিবলে মন নাই তো কি হব তাই কি হব মধু খাব তাই কি হব ফ্রাস্ট্রেশন দিয়ে মধু খাব তাই কি হব ডিপ্রেশন এনেকুৱা হৈ যাব youngster খান কিনেকৈ সেভ কৰিব কিনেকৈ কাইট দিব এইটো বি পুলিচি কাৰণৰ পৰা আনিলে ভাল আছে তেতিয়াহ'লে নাগালেণ্ড educated unemployed youth can do shape কৰিব পাৰিব future ভাল হ'ব পাৰিব আৰু একো দিব নোৱাৰিলে তাইখান পাদাম দে ভাল কথা দিবি ছাড়িবি বিয়া খং কথা হি নকবি এনেকুৱা হৈ কিনা চুলি তাইখান লগত মিলি কিনা চাইলে যদি ফিউচাৰ ভাল হৈ যাব employment program do hoy amahan chotu state population bi inaga chotu aro likha pura pc howa karone amahan do ile educated unemployed program do pc hoye ase itu karone speaker sir ki policy punali hobo itu refinery chuli khurile bha oil strike to jewelry koriলে ভাল আৰু legal prohibition to late koriলে ভাল দেখো project to jewelry koriলে ভাল EFL to jewelry koriলে ভাল তাতে labor খান বি কাম কৰা খান বি ফটা কৰি দিব আৰু বেশি ভক্ত হইলে ইন্ডাস্ট্রি লাইন দে এগ্রি আলাই সেক্টর লাইন দে এনেকা ঘুরি আহিলে অলপ চলপ পি আমার অলপ দিন থাকা অলপ সাল পাকি হওয়া আমার টার্ম নকরা আপতে কি হইবে আমার মিলাই কিনা প্রবলেম তো কিনেকা সলভ হবো এনেকা করি কিনা চাইলে যদি ভালো হবো নাকি কই কিনা ইমানটা কই দিয়ে আছে স্পিকার স্যার থ্যাংক ইউ
Thank you, Honorable Member. I now call upon Honorable Shri Achumbe Mokipon to participate in this.
All my friends were commenting on my waistcoat. So I told them, Speaker Sir, that after seeing the topic today, we must encourage our Naga weavers. That's why I was wearing this one. I was jokingly telling them, but that is the way to go forward. If we don't encourage wearing, nobody will have the enthusiasm to weave. That was what I was commenting. Well, this topic is very vast. Many of our former learned speakers have presented with lots of statistics. We were almost in a classroom type. I think we all have learned a lot. I don't want to go into academic exercise into the statistics. Those are all brought to our notice and to the notice of the honorable members. Well, Speaker Sir, we have already seen the post-COVID-19. Many of our youth came back from the cities, and instead of giving employment, we were looking for a place to accommodate them, how to keep them in the quarantine center. That was actually the main focus, and a lot of resources have been spent by the government. So, yes, it is high time that the policymakers like you and me, like all of us, have to frame a practical policy to tackle both the educated unemployed youth within the Nagas, figures have been not placed to us, and also the uneducated unemployed youth. These days, it is very encouraging, Speaker Sir, that many of the uneducated unemployed youth are actually working in so many workshops, in so many private establishments. This of late, Naga youths have started realizing that without working, it is difficult to survive. Because the days of easy income, the days of joining any faction and earning your livelihood are all gone. The national movement is so dear to us, but so many people have abused that by making it as their livelihood kind of thing. So youth have realized, and it is we, the policymakers, have to give a sense of direction, frame a policy. How do we tackle this rising unemployment? In the morning we have heard about how the advanced and the backward have started fighting over the quota. It is actually very unfortunate that both the group have started fighting. Government is now under pressure from both the group. How do we tackle this? It's all because of the employment issues. But Speaker sir, government, as far as government sector is concerned, it is actually overemployed, fully saturated, overemployed. If you go to many offices, you will see a lot of clerks just idling around playing Ludo, only when they come. And there are people there, hardly they come even once in a month, once in a year. I feel pity for the high-ranking officers here. They'll be all loitering, left alone in the office. The lower ones, they hardly see officers, Speaker sir. So such is the state of the affairs. Maybe chain of command is not good, or they don't have work at all, overemployed in the offices. This is the situation at the moment. Now, what I'm trying to drive at is, yes, government sector we cannot accommodate. Now, how do we do it? Our honorable member, senior member, ONMA has expounded on various industries, the previous abandoned projects. I'm also on that line. I'm inclined to that idea of reviving those aspects. But one of the most important aspects that I would like to emphasize is on the sports. The recent TAO sports, the football festival, it was very entertaining for all of us. Then the inaugural day we went with Honorable CM. Then final day I was out of station, again he went. When he came to learn that the prize money was only about 3 lakhs, instantly he enhanced to 5 lakhs. Even that for me it's too less. There are 11 players playing in the field. Football team is 11, you are aware. You are also a footballer one at what point of time during your school days, probably. So 11 is the team. Now, including the substitutes, the coach, the team manager, the medical team, it is comprising about not less than 30 members, Speaker sir, bringing a football team. What you will do with 2 lakhs, 3 lakhs worth of prize money? And that is supposed to be the state highest trophy. So when we say we encourage our youth to take up sports, we should also find a way how to let them earn from that prize money, or hiring by this and that. But if you're providing only that much, how do we do? So therefore, I think in our approach should be practical. So therefore, when I say this, not only football, we have archery, we have wrestling, we have cricket, a lot of scopes are there. And many youths are now taking interest in sports. This is one avenue the government of the day we must focus on, apart from the other suggestions that have been already put forward by the previous speakers or honorable members of this august house. Many have referred about the forest and the excise prison interview. I was collecting some statistics of the figure. If you have 23,000 applicants, they are collecting, I'm told, 300 per applicant. Now 300 into 23,000 is 70 lakhs. We are under pressure as it is by both, as I said, educated as well as uneducated youth. Now, there is hardly any resources, there is hardly any money with them. Now, if you are collecting money that much resources, how are you going to do that, apply that resources for the good of the people? My suggestion is, collect, if it is so necessary, collect an amount that can that can be enough for the conduct from the beginning till the declaration of the result of the interview. Let us say if it is requiring 10 lakhs for that, the whole process of interview, then per applicant maybe 10 rupees should be enough, or let us say 20 rupees should be enough, because the department requires only 10 lakhs to complete the process of interview. They don't require the entire 70 lakhs. They've already earned that much. How are we going to do that? How are we going to utilize? I think from our youth, from the educated as well as uneducated youth, when they don't have money, when they are running pillar from pillar to post for their survival, again if we are draining out the resources, it is not fair on our part as a government, as a department, Speaker sir. Now, I was also informed that the people from our friends from Noklak, Mon, Gyeongsang, Kifiri, Longland, they all have to come from their own respective headquarters to submit their form in the capital headquarters here in the office, this headquarters office. Now, what was the necessity? Well, the world has become so advanced. Digitally, they can submit online. So, if you count that per passenger, per person, per candidate, they must have spent not less than 5,000 to 6,000 to come to Kohima and go back to their respective places, Speaker sir. So, how much they have spent? With this, as many of our friends have already suggested that hardly only 100 of them will be accommodated. The rest 23,000 of them will be, 22,000 plus will be chopped out of the interview because of the paucity of the vacancies. That we can't have. Now, we have unnecessarily drained out that much resources. Are we calculating all this? As it is, we are, pressured under that, with a lot of strained resources, our people are surviving. So all this has to entrench with our policy matters. We are a policy maker, and therefore our policy making should be sound. The bureaucrats here should be advising the government very thoroughly how our people are impacting on the economy. I'm only calculating on the small things. There are quite a lot. If you see 2-3 departments going through the interview, how much it may be amounting to. The form submission itself is already with this prison, with this excise and forest amounting to 1 crore. So they have spent around 1 to 2 crore of the to and fro expenditure. So see, these are the problem which policymakers like us should focus. Speaker sir, the last point I have is, now, there are some educated youths especially who wanted to venture out in taking up entrepreneurial as well as on business, private business. But if they wanted to seek loan from the bank, they would insist that you bring a government servant as a guarantor. That is also encouraging a lot of families that in my family, there is no government servant, I should be given, you should be given. That is the pressure to all of us as politicians. There is no way we can now, appointing by the politicians, the days are over. It has to go through the interview. How do we assure our supporters, our people on the ground? So therefore, my suggestion is, we can all put our heads together and frame a policy where a person employed in the private sector, like if they are employed in a very reputed school, let us say, properly recognized by Governor Nagaland, Education Department, and also some of the private sectors, can be empowered as a guarantor to take loan from the bank for their relatives or for their friends to start a business. I think that is also one way of discouraging our people to go for government job, because that is also one of the excuses, reasons that they have. I hope it will not overlap the SARFAISI Act that we have passed, Securitization and Reconstruction of Financial Assets and Enforcement of Security Interest Act 2002, SARFAISI Act in short, which if we can indent them with this, synchronize with this, and look for a policy where we can go on that line. This will ease a little bit of attention. That is not the absolute final solution, of course. This is a very vast subject, as I've said. So these are a few points I thought I must submit to this House. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you, Honourable Member. We have one last speaker before the Leader of the House makes his conclusion.
Thank you for the time, sir. And it's a privilege to be the last speaker. I will not speak much, so I want to call upon all the members to give me a little attention because I want to list out a few observations which perhaps would be, I feel it's necessary to tackle this one of the most important problems which we are facing today in Nagaland. As we all know that among all the resources, human resources is one of the best resources. In Nagaland, it's really privileged to have youthful populations who are mostly very educated people. But the tragedy is that we have not been able to convert that asset into our advantage. Because as per the statistics shown from the mover as well as from the earlier speakers, the statistics shows that Nagaland as a whole is one of the highest in unemployed youth. So therefore, it's a tremendous loss to the state, because I think as we all know that youth is the future and youth is our asset. The strength of a society depends much on the economic well-being and enlightened, knowledgeable people, as in the knowledgeable society as it is today. And I think youth, fortunately, it's really, I think, very great asset, but unfortunately, this restless, talented, educated youth, or even uneducated youth, who are very capable of turning into a collective asset, unfortunately, we have not been able to convert them into employment to harvest that resources into our asset. As mentioned earlier by the earlier speakers, definitely it is a collective effort, undoubtedly, and I think one of the first steps should be that each of such capable youth should be made employable, because employment, employability, these are the two different matters, as we all been made to understand and as we all know. Our youth have the qualified academic education, but most of them are not employable in the sense that for a specific kind of a job, they need to have a skill that is required to carry on. So therefore, the skill development, skill formation is also absolutely required to make them employable for a specific job. And today, all over the world, as we all know, the trend is job experience, especially the Western developed society. You may be very highly academically educated, but when you apply for a job experience is what they always insist upon. Therefore, job-oriented skill development will also be organized, vocational courses, because skill formation is what we need to encourage. Among the few handicaps, I've also thought that the change of mindset of the youth, because as we all know today in Nagaland, both the uneducated and also educated people, unemployed youth, are all job seekers of mostly in government jobs. Since private sector employment is not properly organized, generally government job is considered as employment till now, because we know how saturated it is in government, as we all know, and this youth, unfortunately, since we are overemployed in the government sector, that is eating up a lot of our resources, but at the same time, that creates some sort of a laziness and also casualness. So therefore, they are not really, their outputs are not really satisfactory, as we all know. Therefore, I think it is also very necessary for the government to rationalize the employment strength of the government department or organization by reducing excessive stock in the same department and we deploy them for some other organization where employment is most required. So therefore, it will be absolutely necessary because as all it's necessary, it's not only living to the educated people, unemployed people, but also definitely government as a welfare state has to come in to encourage them to show the way as to what should be the employment opportunity besides government job. I told you why I'm saying this, insisting on the redeployment or the re-employment, but change of mindset is that we talk so much about a lot of reference on the employment sort of advertisement in the forest department. But whereas, let me tell you, earlier, beginning of this year, I advertised 12 seats in my department, fourth grade job. 2 of them were reserved for the sort of what you call it, for the government job, reserved for the what you call it, what you call it, yeah. So therefore, only then, out of that, 3,000 candidates has come. That is 1:300. Even in the All Indian examination, not so much comes. Out of this 3,000, about 2,000 were all, what you call it, graduates. And about 60 of them were postgraduate for fourth grade, mind you, beyond job. I was really shocked to see that why the youth, educated youth, so much of sort of education, they are applying for the job of a beyond. That shows the mentality of our youth today. So therefore, definitely, I think it is absolutely necessary for us to encourage our youth to create an asset, to encourage for privatization, private jobs, and also other employment opportunity where the tertiary sectors of our Minister of Tourism sector, the tertiary sectors, the service sector, the business, for which, as you all know, importantly, government has to come in to create that kind of atmosphere. Now here, a lot of schemes are there in the Government of Indian micro-industry, financing, etc. Even our Honorable Chief Minister's micro-financing scheme in one of such attempt where I think employment opportunity definitely, I think starting self-employment schemes in order to be looked into, but then definitely a lot of youth in Nagaland look up and such incentive also not aware now, but only in the selection, I think we need to be very strict, and I think merit has to be applied. Another important issue where government and department can most collectively undertake and create is the investment-friendly atmosphere in our state. Investment-friendly atmosphere in the state by starting development of the basic infrastructure, such as to create availability of basic critical input for productive activities, such as adequate availability of power, water, communication facilities of both physical as well as technical inputs like internet, fast communication facilities, etc., which is absolutely necessary for starting any private activities or any micro, mini industry, etc., or for that matter, even the large industry. And at the same time, security needs to be provided from the government agency to attract investment. Investors should not be allowed harassment from the anti-social element, multi-taxation element, etc. These are the very important issues where investors who are ready to come to Nagaland for various other investment are ready, but then it gets discouraged by all this non-availability of basic facilities. At the same time, the investment atmosphere is not there. So these are the area where I think government can also participate, look into it to encourage the employment besides the government job. Another important issue, I think one of the speakers mentioned about the availability of loan from the bank. As you all know, SAFIC Act of 2002 had been extended in Nagaland and only in 2022, where bank and financial institution can come forward to advance loan for any sort of a land pata, proper land pata issue from the government. This particular act at the moment in Nagaland is applicable only in Dimapur, Moza, where Assam loan law is applicable, where proper pata is issued, Jamabanti or rate book as you call it, that can be kept as a security for the loan that is required for your individual private entrepreneurship, promotion, etc. The same kind of availability of opportunity is not given in other parts of the state because we don't have a proper quota system. Incidentally, yesterday I written a small article which is published in all the papers, where the landowner's right, I've explained all the possibility of how we can take advantage of this loan facility from the bank and the financial institution. So the department is really contemplating to conduct sort of a cadastral survey in all the township in our state for the advantage of the people who wants to use that as a security for obtaining loan, etc. Of course, we cannot allow alienation of the land right into the non-Naga people, non-indigenous Naga people. This of the protection which I think the government is to really enforce upon. But with such kind of the actions from the government side, definitely I think will be in a position to create employment opportunity where the unemployment today is a bomb which will be converted into an asset, or it can be very destructive once the youth is become more frustrated, because day by day, as you all know, the graduate and also the educated people are added to the list. Now we are seeing about 70 to nearly a lakh for a state like Nagaland, and another year or two, every year about 10-20,000 are added to it. So therefore, definitely I think we need to urgently handle this with our collective effort to ensure that proper measures is taken from the government side as well to create employment opportunity apart from the government employment. With this few words, thank you for the time.